God doesn't give us more than we can handle.
It's really sad that he died, but at least now you don't have to spend your life with someone who's clearly disturbed and mentally ill.
With great suffering comes great glory.
Call me if you need my help.
Are you going to put your kid in counseling?
Are you sure you didn't see this coming?
How did he do it?
Setting aside the fact that the person you're saying this to may not share your religious beliefs, this is not the encouraging sentiment that some people may think it is, especially when it's said to somebody who's lost their loved one to suicide. I know that the intention is to reassure me that I will get through this difficult time, but what immediately comes to mind is the fact that my husband was given more than he could handle. Something better to say might be, "This is so hard, but I'm going to be here to support you through it."
I can appreciate that the intention is that I deserve the best out of life, which is a lovely sentiment, but putting down our person is not helpful, and condescending mental illness is not helpful. I would just say, don't say that.
We've lost the one we love, and oftentimes death is the result of some great suffering, whether that was suffering with mental illness or through a terminal diagnosis. Our loved one did not achieve great glory from that suffering. Instead of offering up platitudes, one could listen and they themselves sit with the uncomfortability of grief, allowing the griever to express their emotions without trying to put those emotions in a positive light.
The problem with that one, as intentionally as helpful as it sounds, is that it ends up putting a lot of work, effort, and thought on the person that you're trying to help. What might be helpful instead is to call and say, "I will be at your house on Tuesday to mow the lawn." Or what you might do is call every Tuesday and say to the person, "I'm checking in. How can I help you this week?"
It's understandable that you want to help a friend who has experienced trauma, but what wasn't your business before the trauma happened is still not your business after it's happened.
Well, since right now I'd go to Hades and swim the river Styx to get him back, I'm sure that I didn't know, because you may not mean it, but the question implies that I had all the knowledge and all the power, and that I did nothing with those two things to have a different outcome. That is not the case, and the fact that I did not have the knowledge and the power haunts me the most. So, unless you're in the inner circle and we've built up a very specific level of trust, understand that listening always helps, and some of those questions sure can hurt.
There are 3 reasons that I struggle with questions about my husband's suicide itself. First, I think it puts an undue focus on the end of his life, the very last 5 minutes, instead of his struggles that preceded and that led up to his suicide. I think suicide is a tragic loss, but it is a part of a complex ecosystem that begins well before somebody makes actions that end their life. Second, I think it puts also too much focus on my husband himself. Even the question itself, how did he do it, frames the situation as one where he had total control. And I don't believe that to be the case in my instance. I've changed the way that I think about it through my experience to really see this as a disease that my husband died from, something that happened to him, as much as something that he did. And so that question hurts me when I hear it. And finally, I think people often ask that question because they're trying to seek reassurance that this is something that could never happen to them in their lives. And by focusing on those very last 5 minutes, I think they can ensure that those tools or those scenarios could never play out with their loved ones and family members. And I think that's a dangerous thing to do. I think it ignores the reality of mental illness. I think it focuses on the wrong things. And I think it also serves the person asking the question much more than the person who's grieving.